Good afternoon, Mr. Lowinger. Could we begin by having you say your name the way you use it today and spell it, please?
Alexander Lowinger. Alexander. Loewinger.
Mr. Lowinger, what is your date of birth?
September 9, 1928.
And where were you born?
In a small town called Retiag. Reteag.
In
Romania.
I'd like to begin by asking you to talk about your family life. Can you tell us what you remember when you were just young about your parents and about your sisters and brothers?
Well, I had a sister, 4 years older than me, and brothers, 7 years older.
What was your sister's name?
My sister's name is Elza, Elza, and my brother's name Andrew, Andrew.
And your parents?
My parents' name was Herman, Herman, and my mother's name Teresia, Terezia. A very happy family. We went to school in that town, and
What did your father do for a living?
he had a small grocery store.
And did your mother have an occupation? Was she?
No, she was housewife. She was taking care of the children.
And was your family religious? Were they observant?
Well, we had kosher in our house, and we went to temple. It was Friday evening, Saturday, and we went to Cheder.
Did they keep Shabbat and how?
Yes, we keep Shabbat and the holidays. And
Did you know your grandparents?
no, I did not know. I knew only my mother's side, my grandmother, and my father's side, my grandmother.
What was your mother's side grandmother? What was her name?
Her name was Golda.
Do you remember her second name?
Yes, Jeremias. It's spelled Jeremas.
And the other grandmother?
My other grandmother's name was Hannah Lowinger. Loewinger.
And what name were you born with when you were when you were young? And what were you called?
My name was Alexandru. Alexandru. And my last name Levinger. Levinger. So,
And other family members uncles, cousins? Who do you remember?
Well, I remember all my father's brothers, my sisters. They were 7. And my mother's side also, there were 7 of them.
Do you remember some names?
Yes, I do. Their name was Lipot on my father's side. Lipot, Emil, Marton, Rosie, Ida, and Rivkush. And on my mother's side, I remember Shandor, Frigyes, Szerén, Rella, and Elsa.
So would you say you had a large family?
Very, very large family. Very many, many children in the family.
And do you remember getting together with your family on occasions?
Yes. On my father's side, the family was living in the same town, most of my family. And very often we see each other. Right? That was a small town, and we were very close.
In the town that you came from, how did the Jews live with the non-Jews? Was there interaction?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, we were very friendly. We get along very well with the Romanians and Hungarians. I never remember an incident or something, anything like that. Well,
Did you feel any anti-Semitism as a child growing up in that town?
I could not feel any when I was a child. It was very peaceful. We went to school. We never had any difficulties. We were treated very equal.
And what language did you speak at home?
Hungarian, respect. That was my mother's tongue.
And any other languages?
Yeah, we Romanian also and Yiddish.
Did you consider yourself Hungarian or Romanian when you grew up?
Well, I would say half Hungarian, half Romanian, and equals a Jew. I always knew that who I was, and I went to a Jewish school in the Cheder, and
So did you go to public school?
yes, the Jewish children went with the Romanians together in the Romanian school. The Hungarian had a different school. They went just by themselves.
Was there a hierarchy where the Hungarians or the Romanians thought they were better one than the other? Or did people feel they were equal?
No, people feel they were equal. No, it wasn't like that. They were,
Including Jewish?
including Jewish. Yeah, everybody was very much, treated the same way.
What was the economic level of your family compared to other people in the town?
Not. Well, our family was considered, very well. We had everything we needed, and I would say we lived very well, compared to the other people.
Did you have your own home?
Oh yes, we had our own home and a very comfortable size house, 2 bedrooms and kitchen, and very, very well built houses. We never had any problem. Yeah.
Did you have nice things in your house? Furniture?
Oh yeah, beautiful furniture and rugs on the floor, and we were considered rich people.
Did you, as a child, were you interested in anything in particular? Or did you have a hobby or something that you enjoy particularly?
I loved soccer. I was playing soccer, and summer we went to the river called Somesh, Somes. So we went swimming there on a daily basis. We had well, we had a very good time there. And winter we went ice skating there.
What did you imagine for yourself when you were young? When you went to the river, when you went ice skating, what did you think your life was going to be like?
Well, we never thought too much about the future. We didn't know too much about the outside world. We were living very much, for ourselves there. And
Did you ever consider going to Palestine at the time? Palestine, were your parents Zionist? Did they imagine that sometime they might be living in what would be Israel?
well, I remember about about 6 people from our town went to Palestine that time. I knew them very well. That was, I would say, 1936, 1930. I was 7-year-old. But not too many people had the courage to go at that time. They were very well home, and
So that was not something that you desired for yourself.
no, not. I never desired. And I was that time 7-year-old and 7, 8-year-old.
Later on, did you belong to any organizations? As a teenager. Any Jewish organizations?
Not there, not those times, no, never. My mother was belonged to the Wizo. I think they spell it Wizo, and
So, were you aware of what was going on in Germany, and the Germans knew their policy toward the Jews? Like, for example, did you know about Kristallnacht in 1938?
well, we listened to the radio evening, every evening from Radio London. Yeah, from London came the news. Yeah, and we were aware that things are not going well, and what's going on in Germany, and they invaded those small countries. Yes, we knew all that. We heard about it.
Do you remember any discussion within your family about what to do?
We had, yeah, I remember discussion, but we never acted on it. We never did anything unusual. We never tried to leave, Tom.
Were you worried yourself?
Yes, we were worried, but we never had any courage to do anything to leave the place.
Where would you have gone if you were going to leave?
Well, probably to Palestine. We didn't have anything else. We didn't hear any about the United States that well. We didn't know those times.
Do you remember hearing Hitler's voice on the radio?
Yes, we heard that in the radio. Yes, every evening we listened to that, and but
Did you understand German?
yes, I do. I did.
So did you feel, though, that it didn't touch you personally, that it was far away? Or did you feel that it was coming closer to you?
We always feel this coming closer and closer. We always do that. But
So how did it first impact you personally and your family? What was the first thing that happened that made you aware that things were going to change?
I heard talking, my father, my mother, they were talking that things are not going well, and what's happening to the Jews in Poland and that, and those countries. But we never thought it's going to affect us. We were very naive.
Was there anyone giving a warning? Did the rabbis say anything, or any people in the town try to warn you?
No, they never warned us. They never, publicly, they never told us anything. We just listened to the news every night, and
So now, then what happened?
then a major event happened. In 1940, the Hungarians occupied half of Transylvania. According to the agreement between Hitler and Hungary and Romania, that half of Transylvania is going to be occupied by Hungary. And the Hungarian army took over that part of the country. Then suddenly everything changed. From one day another, the atmosphere, the situation and town, and everybody got scared what's going to happen. All this happened very suddenly. So then everybody looked different, the situation. But even then, we didn't do anything. We just scared, and we didn't act to do anything, to go somewhere, to change our situation. And
How was your life different? Like day to day, how did it change?
well, in the school they start to teach us Hungarian language in the school.
And before?
Before they was teaching us Romanian. And we didn't know how the situation is going to be changed. And month by month, everything, things changed, and
Could you still go out with friends? Could you still do the same things you did before after the Hungarians came?
yes, we could do the same, but the atmosphere and it wasn't nothing like before.
What about your parents' business?
We still had the business. We still operated the same way, and but we didn't make the same kind of. We didn't have the same kind of income. Just our income went down. And it was tougher, the economical situation. And but life went on, and
Were there young people were there young people in the town that were being taken to the military?
oh yes, my brother was taken to the military.
And what year was that?
Yes, it was 1942. My brother was taken to the military, but then not to regular military. It was like uh, uh, they take them to work, physical work. That's all.
Had anyone else in your family before? Had they been in any of the armies? And
No, never before. We never.
how did your parents feel about it?
Well, we were scared, and it was a very sad situation. He went. They took him to the military, and then. And
And then what happened? Did things keep changing for the worse? And what?
things keep changing always on daily basis, monthly and yearly. Everything went worse and worse and worse.
Could you give me an example of how things got worse?
Well, to example, every week, one day, we had to go to do some work. Only Jewish youngsters had to go to, and we had to wear a yellow band on our arm, and we did labor work. And others, the Romanians, Hungarians, they went to regular exercises one time a week. That's what happened those times.
Was there a difference now in how the Romanians and the Hungarians treated the Jews?
No, the local population was very peacefully. I wouldn't say that they did anything else. Never. Were any fights or any discrimination or anything like that between us. The people on town, they were all very nice to us, and we had a very fair atmosphere.
But now you were singled out to wear an armor.
To our, yeah, we
How
singled
did
out.
you feel about that?
I feel terrible, We know right away that we are singled out. We are not equal with the rest of the population. So,
Was there anything else? Did they demand anything else from Jewish families?
Then the wars started. Germany attacked Russia, and Germans passed by and with the trains through our town. Thousands and thousands, very many went to the front, to the Russian front, and once a while they came in town. They came, and one night they murdered a Jewish guy in town. And then that was awful, you know. They went to his home at night, and they they brought him to the river, and they dumped him in the river from the bridge, and they killed him. That was very often, and thing never was the same like it used to.
Why did they do that?
We never had any answer. A German family was living in town, and we went there, and they went and talked to the German officers, and then things quieted down. It never happened after that. Just one man was killed there.
Did you know him?
Very well. 45-year-old man. For no other reason, just because he was a Jewish guy.
Did you see the trains of Germans coming through the town?
Every day I went to the train station and I watched them passing by. Thousands and thousands and thousands, and many, they passed by.
Were you interested yourself in what was going on in the war, and how things were?
Yes, I was interested. Yeah, I knew very well where they went and what they did and what's going on, and very much so.
But at that time, did you feel yourself in danger?
No, not really. We never thought, son, that anything was going to happen to us. We were very naive. We never thought what could happen to us, and we should do something before anything happens. Then one day, my brother, his unit passed by our town, our train station. They took him to Russia, the whole unit. And then is the last time when my parents saw my brother. We went to this train station, and we gave him with packages, and
Was that difficult for the family?
very difficult, yeah, because he could evade the transport, but he was scared. He didn't. So they took him to Russia that day. Then one night we were waked up. That was in 1943. And Hungarian army units came to our door. And they asked us for, clothes. Said they're going to the Russia, and they need warm clothes and shoes, and we should give them anything we have for them. Well, we gave them anything they wanted, but they scared us very badly. We didn't know what is the reason why they waked up, and they left peacefully. Nobody got hurt. Then a year later, we heard that from parts of Hungarian. The Germans take the Jews and ghettos and all that. And we still didn't do anything. We waited. Then we got really scared.
How did you hear?
Through the radio. Every night we listened to the radio. My neighbors came over and we listened to the radio, and that they take the Jews to the ghettos and that time we didn't know that what's going to happen to them. And that was very, very scary. We didn't think that our security is guaranteed.
Were there any young people who were talking among themselves about resisting, or any way that they could escape with a group of young people? Did anybody consider that?
Never. My father was talking to a family and the neighbor. But my mother was very scary. She said she doesn't want to leave the family. She wants to stay and do whatever they say. We were very, very scared. For one thing is, we were scared because if anything went, we knew very well the system, how the system worked. If something happened to anybody, they beat how they call it, the gendarmerie, they call that, or the police. They would beaten us very badly, very bad. If we wouldn't do everything, like the law says, what they dictate us. My father wants to go, but the mother's. And then my sister got married in 1943, and I think that was the last time that all the family, the both sides of the mother's side, father's side, they came to our wedding in town. And they moved, my sister moved to Cluj.
Who did she marry?
She married a businessman from, his name was Ernest, Ernst, Hancz, Hancz. And she moved to Cluj.
Do you remember that being a happy occasion?
Very happy occasion. All my family from both sides of they were there, and
but were people still talking about what to do?
Everything. Not what's going to happen to us, not what to do, because we never thought to do anything. It's a shame to say that, but this is the truth. We never thought to do anything to escape, to do anything.
What about to hide? Were some people considering to hide on farms or in, with Christian families?
We never had the courage. They probably helped us if we would ask them to do. But we never asked them. Because we could offer him food and money and anything is possible. But we never asked them to do anything. That was our tragedy.
So now you are alone with your parents.
No, I am alone with my parents. And things get worse and worse and worse. Then they told us that they're not going to give us merchandise because we are Jews. So we had to use somebody else's name, Hungarian's name and Romanian's name to get merchandise for our store. And that was very tough if they find out.
Were you still in school at this time?
I was still in school all the time. I was still studying. And 1942, 1941, 42, 43, I was in school. I just went for the exams. I was studying home and went to Cluj for the exams. It was a high school. It's called the Jewish Gymnasium. But very few could afford to do that. And it was very expensive.
So did you have your own teachers?
Yes. I had a cousin who was very educated, and he taught us. We pay him.
What was his name?
His name was Gidalyahu Rosenzweig. He was giving us lessons, and he taught us, and end of the year we went for the exams.
This was a group?
Yeah, a group of children. We were about 10 of them.
So were you still able to go out with friends and, to have a normal life even in 1943?
Well, it was a small town, yeah, at Red Tech. We didn't go anywhere else, like restaurants or anything. We never had that kind of stuff in our town. Home was the one, the base, and we went out. I mean, on the streets, we met everybody, but we never had. I think end of the 1943, they had a cinema. They Then went to see some movies and all that. 1942, so, yeah, 42. The first time we had a cinema and went to see movies, mainly Hungarian movies.
So what happened?
Then came the new law. You had to wear the Davis stars on daily basis. Yellow Davis stars. That was terrible. So the Romanians, Hungarians, that we are singled out, we are different like them. And that was very painful.
And this was already after your sister's wedding.
After my sister's wedding, yeah, we start to wear the yellow star. The Magen David, you know. Come.
And then what happened from there?
Then I never forget that day. My father came home early morning, about 5:30. The police ordered that everybody pack in all we had in our home, because they take us to the ghettos. So my father said, "This is the end of our life. Is everything going to end? We don't have no way to survive. This is the end of it. They take us, and we never are going to be returned." So you can imagine packing all the belongings, anything we could. Our neighbor, the Romanian family, was in front of our house, and we start to pack everything on their. It was we never had cars over there. Just how you call it, wagons. And the horse was carrying that wagon. And we went and it took us to the ghetto, to Dej. D-E-J. J like John. And that ghetto called Bungur, Bungur.
Dej was the town?
This was the town, and few kilometers from Dej was the ghetto. That was 13 kilometers from our town. It's called Bungur, Bungur.
Do you remember what you took?
most of our clothes. Shirts, pants, shoes, hats, and warm clothes. And bed sheets and to sleep on it. That was so painful. We walked all the way from our town to all the way about 13 kilometers.
Did your parents take anything valuable? Did they take jewelry and silver?
We didn't have that too much to take.
Or our money?
We were considered rich, but we were not that rich, you know.
Or photographs, or I'm trying to understand what they would take with them.
I don't know the details what my mom took, but she probably took pictures and jewelry and watch and but we had only a few hours time to pack. The police came. They asked us if we are ready to leave, if we are ready. And we just packed in everything and start to walk. And we left our home, our sweet home. And we were so happy and we spent so many happy years.
Did they tell you why they were taking you?
They never told anything. We all knew, everybody knew in town, because we are the Jews. That's why. We don't belong there. And my mother always said, they're going to murder us. They want to do that. They want to do that. This is our end. My mother was very smart. She read books and she knew what's going on in the world. She knew that they start to murder the Jews from Poland. And all those countries. But nobody stand up between us to tell us, do something. We could go to Romania. We had money, we knew the language. We could pass the border. It wasn't too far. It was our fault that we didn't take think serious and do something. Hide. Or go to Romania. That would be the best bet. We had families in Romania.
So what do you remember about the ghetto?
Oh, there were maybe 15, 20,000 people there. We built, they brought us wood and we built little tiny houses. I mean, nothing, just to have where to sleep.
What time of year was it?
That was, I would say, summer, May 1944. And they had a big kitchen. We went there to get the food. They gave us some kind of food, and food that we brought from home. That's what we ate. That ghetto was terrible. Oh, that's so many people. Just in the restrooms and everything, it was unbelievable.
You were now like almost 16. Did you feel
Yeah.
responsible for your parents?
No, I didn't feel responsible. They were worrying about me constantly. They were always worrying about me. If I had enough food, if I eat enough. They were worrying about me.
What were you thinking? What did you imagine now that was going to happen?
I never thought they were going to kill us. In my own thinking, I never think they're going to do that. The first time in my life I heard that the Jewish guy in my town was killed. I never heard anything else in town or in the country. But my mom was very pessimistic. She always said, they're going to kill us.
We're going to stop the tape here to change to a new one, so we'll take a break.
Okay.
Mr. Lowinger, would you continue?
Yes. The ghetto was terrible. Sanitation and food distribution. Then one day we heard that the police came and they took people in for interviews and to find out where they hide the jewelries and the money. And my father was very, upset. He didn't know he's going to be called in. My uncle was called in, and luckily they didn't beat him because one interrogator knew him and he didn't do anything bad to him. But many people were terribly hurt. They beat him very badly. Then a few days later, they told us to pack all belongings and we're going to go. Going to go somewhere. We didn't know where to go, how to go. The train station was just a few yards from the ghetto, and the train was waiting for us.
How long had you been in the ghetto?
About 2 weeks. Then we start to go down from the packs, everything, to the trains, and they told us to go on. About 100 of them, and those, it wasn't a regular train. Those they carry merchandise and things like that. They filled in with the people and our few belongings. We didn't have any much food, so we didn't take too much food with us. And I remember my father, my mother, and my uncle and his son and my grandmother on my father's side. We were all sitting there, and the train started via Auschwitz.
Did you know where it was going?
No, we didn't know absolutely nothing. Just train went day by day. Took us about 3 days. No food, nothing on the way. Nobody told give us anything, just food what we carried us. My mother and my father didn't eat anything, and they gave me all the food they had, just to make sure that I'm not suffering. Those kind of parents I had. So the train went on and on and on. They had 4 windows, little small windows. And then we noticed that we saw the name of the cities when we passed by. And a city called Kassa, Kassa. The Germans took over the train from the Hungarians. Then we pass to Hungary to Poland. Then a day later, we arrived in Krakow. That was a few miles from Auschwitz. Then we arrived in Auschwitz. They never opened the trains on those few days. First time. And we walked out from the train. There were Jewish people there working at the train station from Poland, and they told us, how come you didn't do anything? Why didn't you do anything? We are here from 1938. And they told us, they're going to select you. Try to go on the left side. Try to go on the left side, not on the right side. People go on the right side, they're going to be exterminated. Tonight, same day. So, why didn't you do anything? They're murdering millions and millions of people here. I remember very well saying that.
What language are they talking?
Yiddish. And my father hacked my hand, and they said, women, go first. Children and old women on the right side. Younger women on the left side. And they selected the people. I think it was Dr. Mengele. He was the head of the SS unit over there in Auschwitz. Then the woman went, and we saw they were selecting the people, right, left, right, left, right, left, so on. Then my father held my hand. We went on the left side, and the soldier noticed him. He said, no, you go the right side. My father knew German, and he said, ich bin young. Ich kann arbeiten. No, they didn't let him go on with me. So I went by myself on the left side. And we end up in the barracks. I noticed right away I was on my own, I was alone. All my uncles, everybody went on the right side. I was stunned. So the guys closed immediately. Went. Then I knew something serious thing happened. I remember I was sitting down on the curb and look across the street where the crematorium were. And I knew that my parents were murdered and everybody else. That was a terrible feeling. Unbelievable. And life started that moment in the concentration camp. There were so many all over. Oh, 100 barracks. People came right and left and right and left. Nobody talked to anybody. Everybody was on his own. And 2-3 times a day, we had to line up for food, for that, for that. They told us everything. Aufstehen, go here, do that, do that, do that. I didn't know anybody suddenly. Everybody was stranger around me. I was on my own. I did everything they told me to do. Go to sleep. When I had to go to sleep, I went to sleep. When they told get up, I got up. And what else could I do? And they gave me the food. I ate, and so on.
Did you have a job?
Then no, there was nobody was working in those few days. No job, no nothing. Just we were there and waiting for the next move. What they going to do? Where we going to go? We didn't know nothing. Just like animals. That was our life there. Wake us up 5 in the morning. They gave us something to eat. And middle of the day, they gave us again in the evening.
Some people have numbers. Did you receive them?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't get any numbers in Auschwitz. No. Later on, they give me a number. I still remember the number and everything.
What was the number?
58,545. That was given me in Buchenwald, but they were not writing in on my hand. Then I realized that we made big mistake, that we didn't do anything before all that started. Then I was thinking pretty deep. No parents, I on my own. And I wasn't sure that I'm going to stay alive. Or what's going to happen to me. first time that I thought pretty deep that my life is in jeopardy and I might not survive. And I'll die somewhere, somehow, like a dog. I wasn't optimistic at all. I knew my parents are not alive. They told us. That was a zone, called the Sonderkommando. They were working for a while, then they exterminated them too. And everything was true what they told us.
How were you treated by the guards?
But I never. And they had the capos from they were selecting from our us. Capos called CAPO, and some of them they were pretty bad. Those guys, they were, but I always did what I supposed to do. I never did anything else. So. If somebody didn't behave or somebody was unruly, and then they beat them.
How long were you there in Auschwitz?
Auschwitz, I spent about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. And they took us to the train station, and they took us to Buchenwald.
In the same kind of trains that you came?
The same kind of trains. But they gave us food there. They were and it didn't take that long to get from Auschwitz to Buchenwald. They were.
And still you didn't talk with anyone? Even
No, nobody talked to me. Nobody contacted me. No, I didn't get friendly with anybody. Nobody tried to get friendly with me. I just lived my own life. There were no talking between us. I think the situation and we were contributed that people didn't try to, connect, didn't try to get friendly with anybody. In Buchenwald, things were a little more humanely than in Auschwitz.
In what way?
It wasn't so tough, the whole atmosphere. It was a little more friendlier. It feels a little more. You were not so scared, and Auschwitz was terrible. And from a few days later in Buchenwald, they sent us to work. They call them Arbeit Lager, Arbeitslager. And that I received my number, 58,545.
How was it written? Where did you?
No, they give us a card. And I was holding it in my pocket. 58,545.
And what was the work you did?
I went to Buchenwald. From Buchenwald, we went to Magdeburg. So in Buchenwald, we got the numbers, and 2 days later, they took me to Buchenwald. About 2,000 of us. To Magdeburg. No, that was a tough lager. Next day, after we arrived there, they waked us up 4 o'clock in the morning, and we went to work. First, before we arrived to work, we had to walk to work, I would say about 15, 20 kilometers. And we worked there, and they call it was a refinery. It called Brabag, BRBAG, refinery. They made synthetic gas. They produced synthetic gas. So we were digging. We made there bunkers. We built bunkers. I would say from 6 in the morning till 6 at evening, we worked there. 12 hours every day. With very little food. But that was really hard labor, all day long, with a shovel. Non-stop. The guards were tough. The capos, so everybody was watching us. We worked there.
Were the guards German?
The guards were German. Yes.
And the capos?
Capos, they were our own. They were selecting two, three people from us. Tough people, they knew the language and they were capos. One day, what happened to me is, the only time I was beaten is it was an afternoon and a lady passed by and I want to know what time is it. I just want to see the time of the day. Well, I know what time is going to end of the day. And I watched her watch. And German guard noticed. A few minutes later, he called me. So what did I do? I said, no, I just had to find out the time of the day. I think what they thought that I was watching her legs or something, because so he told me lay down and he used a wood stick and as strong as possible, he hit me about 5-6 times on my ass. It was terribly painful. But it took about 2 days till I was healed. But that's the only time I was hurt.
Did you ever get sick while you were there?
Many times. Many times I wasn't able to stay home. I had to go to work, sick. And I couldn't eat like usual. I saved my bread for the next occasion. When I came home for work, the bread wasn't there. Somebody stole the bread. So one day I get hurt at the job. A piece of metal fell on my leg, and I had to go for treatment to be treated, and that was very painful. I think it's it took about 2-3 weeks till it healed. And that was terribly painful.
So there was some medical attention?
Yes, yeah, there were medical attention. Yeah, we had some place where you could go and they give you some kind of treatment. But you had to wait till you get home. Or you had to stay on and work, and then in the evening you had a chance to go and get some treatment. But they didn't give you the right treatment, the right think, because
What about food? What kind of food did you receive?
very little, not enough. And I wasn't, the only thing was good that the bread, that kept us alive. The
Were-
bread.
Were you a strong boy to begin with?
I wouldn't say I was strong, but weak either. No, I wasn't between strong and weak. I hold up pretty good. I could do my work. But it was a very tough concentration camp. Arbeitslager, they call them, concentration lager. One day, terribly scene happened in the camp one day that I'm not going to forget anymore, anytime. Some people when we went to work, there were fields close by. People went to dig under the ground and they stole some potato from the ground. Then they got caught. Just for that reason. And one evening, it called appel. Appel meant that we should come out and lined up, and they went to count us and see if everybody is there. They count us 1,000,000 times. That was, and they called us to 6 guys. There were 6 people. They called in front of everybody, and they called in the dogs. They had the German guards had some special dogs. They were and unbelievable that scene. The dogs in front of us, by those people, to death. Nobody could move. All 6 of them. There were about 12 dogs. They murdered in front of my eyes. I never saw it. I never saw killing somebody with a gun or Zinga or anything else. But the only scene I saw with my own eyes. Those dogs, they were unbelievable wild. That's how they got killed, all 6 of them, in front of our eyes. Then I worked nights. That was some very, very terrible. Because I couldn't sleep in the daytime very well. Like I didn't have enough rest. I felt I'm very weak. I thought this camp is very, very, very bad. I thought I might not survive this camp. Not enough food, not walking to work and home and all that. Then another thing, yes. Every day they had bombardment on the refinery. In that refinery they were prisoners from all over Europe, French, Italians, Spain, Holland, everybody. And the Americans usually came daytime. The American bombers came daytime. So we knew we heard the sirens, and we knew that what's coming. From the first day it happened, and all the people from the refinery, they moved on. They left by cars. They ran away. They went far away from the camp because they didn't want to get murdered. The only one they didn't take. The only one we were us, the Jews, that they had to stay on when the bombs came, the airplanes came and they bombed the places. But we were right there. The only thing we could do when the bombs fell down, we move here, move there, close by. That's the only thing. And that went on every day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, a lot of people lost their life on the bombings. In front of my eyes, people left, died. We went to one place, the bomb fell here, we moved to another place, we moved to another place, we moved here, we moved there. It took it didn't take a few minutes, it took more than 10, 15 minutes. They came and they went, came again, they came again. Bound down the places. We never could leave the place. We always had to stay on. Never left us go. The guards left us. They moved. But we had to stay on. They told us nobody is moving, everybody stays on. And the English, they came at night time. They bombed night time. Same thing. When I work nights, That was even worse. It was dark, the lights were off. Finally, the refinery was in shambles. It was. A good friend of my father was a capo in Magdeburg. And I asked him, look, why don't you do something for me? Why don't you help me? No. He said, dear son, you are on your own. You have to save yourself. I can nothing do to you. And may I ask you, maybe you can give me some more food or something? And he was a good friend of my father. He didn't want to recognize. Then one day I came home from the camp, from the refinery. I was very tired. And I saw a big line about 1,500 people lined up in line, and I asked him, what's going on? Why you stay alive? What's happening? We are leaving this camp. We are going to another camp. But I said, who are the people? Sick, and they are not able to work any longer. I noted, I could realize that it's not a good idea to go with them. Who knows? You might end up in Auschwitz. But I didn't care. I thought, that's not a lie. I remember those people murdered by dogs in front of me. And the bombing, and walking every day, 15 kilometers, back and forth. Whatever happens, happens. I took a chance. Took us to the train station, took us back to Buchenwald, from where we left. Okay. 2 days later, it was a selection. Everybody went through a commission, they checked everybody out. Same what happened in Auschwitz. Right, left. So I wasn't sick, just weak. Then they asked me, and my height was pretty tall. I was pretty tall, compared to others. They asked me, so how old are you? 16. Where are your parents? I said, and they were in Auschwitz. They were selected. They sent me to life again. Between 50 and 100, maybe we end up about 30, 40 in Buchenwald. And all the rest of them. Then my life changed completely when I remained in Buchenwald. The food was different. It was considering I was, happy compared to Magdeburg. Oh, I was, had a wonderful time there, food and everything. And they moved me to a barrack. They were, in Buchenwald was about, I would say, about 100,000 people in Buchenwald. There were 10,000 Jews, about 10,000 Jews, Buchenwald. They were barracks. Jews were separately, Dutch, the Hollanders, Spain, Germans. There were Germans too there in the camp. And I was sent to a Jewish barrack. It was delicious there. Had a good time and everything. The Jews were all from Germany, from Poland, and I was very well off. I worked very little. They called it was like Holzhof. It was very easy. We went to deliver some wood every day from one place to another. I had a very good time. But it didn't last too long. They sent me to another camp, another Arbeitslager, Schwalber. Schwalber, Schwalber, in Thuringia. That camp was full with Russian, Ukrainians, French, all kind of people from all over the West. It wasn't like Magdeburg. No one was like Magdeburg. That was okay. And I was selected to work in the kitchen. So I was a Kartoffelschäler. So I was I was a youngster there, and the Russian officer worked in the kitchen. And things went pretty well in that camp. I had enough food. I wouldn't complain about anything else. I helped a lot of people. I could.
What do you mean by help people?
I helped with potatoes and give them, I took out my pockets, give some potatoes to people. I would tell.
Were you considered young?
Yes, I was considered young, yeah. Yes. They were younger too, 15, 14, 17. I was considered young. It was pretty good.
So did you then at that time understand why some of camps were so much worse than others? Like why at Magdeburg did they treat you so much worse at Buchenwald?
Well, I thought, some people were lucky. They were in a good camp. Some people were worse in a bad camp. All dependent on the who was the commandant of the lager. That was. Who was the commandant? Who ordered the murder of those people? Probably the commandant. It didn't came from any place else. They are the one decided, and they decided when they bombed the place not to leave, not to take us to a safe place.
When you were there in Buchenwald and in the other camps, did anyone try to keep any of the Jewish holidays? Were you aware of any of the holidays?
None at all. We never kept any holidays or anything else. Never. We never knew about the holidays.
Nobody tried to say any prayers?
Nobody says not to say any bad stuff. We never knew about prayers or anything else.
And what about in the last camp in the Schwalberg when you were working in the kitchen? Did you get to know anyone? Did you talk with other people?
Not too much. Very little. Very little. But the atmosphere was not better. And matter of fact, then in that camp, I saw the first American POW. They came for food to us. They were short or something, and we helped them out. They picked up some potatoes and food. We prepared. I know it was very cold, and they were very. The clothing was very thin, they were very. But they were friendly and talked to them. But I knew they were Americans. They told us.
Did you have any news about the progress of the war? Besides, you saw the bombing, but did you know what was going on in the outside world?
Not too much. Very little. Very little. But in that Schwalberg camp, I didn't feel like that my life is so much in danger like I used to, like in Magdeburg or in Buchenwald. I felt more freely. I thought maybe one day we'll end all this. I knew about the war and everything that is going on. That's I knew it's going to end. I didn't know it's 45 or 46 or who knows. Then one day, they were took they it was a big appel, and they told us the Westerners stay on the left side, the Easterners on the right side. So, okay, the Westerners went on the west side. West, some kind of direction. The Easterner, they went on the eastern side. And they start to walk us from the camps. We left the camp and we start to walk. From the morning till evening. But people, they couldn't make it. I think they were murdered. Because we never saw them again. Who couldn't keep up with the... we went day and day and day and day and day. Never ending. We know if you cannot go, if you cannot keep on going, they're going to kill you on the spot. Some of them left the unit. I mean, they were. Not everybody kept walking, some of them, but I don't know what happened to them. If they get caught. We left about 700-800 people. When we were liberated, we end up being 100 of them. We don't know who was murdered, what happened to them. I know many of them, they had the courage and they fled, they flee.
We're going to stop here to change tape. Rose, please continue.
Well, the marching was unbelievable tough. We walked, and we walked. From one town to another.
Where did you sleep?
Wherever we could. Some places, some outside on the fields, wherever they found any place for us. But that was terribly. And we knew if you cannot keep on going, you're going to get killed.
And what about eating? What did they give you?
Very little. Very little. So, hardly nothing. It was unbelievable. That was worse than the camp by itself.
And what did you have on your feet? Did you have shoes?
We had some kind of shoes on it, yes. We went very bad shape, very bad. It was, I remember one day I thought I will never make it. I will never be able to go, keep on going. It was very, very painful. I was weak. I just felt that I don't have the strength to keep on going.
Did people help each other? Did you have a comrade or someone?
That time, yes. I met a guy from my city. And he told me, don't stop. Don't keep going. Keep going. Keep going. He helped me. This is the first time I really was close to somebody. He didn't want me to die. He wants me to keep going till,
Do you remember his name?
yes. His name was Gluck, Gluck. And he told me, keep going, keep going.
Do you still know him?
So when I came home, yes, I met him. I mean, we were good, close friends, but I haven't heard from him for 35, 40 years. I don't know if he's still alive. He was a lot older than me. Probably passed away. I remember every day the group was smaller and smaller and smaller. But the Germans, they were keep coming with us. The whole unit. Everybody was watching us, what we are doing, where we are going. They didn't let us out of the view.
And where were you going? In which direction or toward where?
Toward Czechoslovakia, toward the Sudeten. But I thought that march will never end. It's like they call the Death March. That was the Death March for many hundreds of people.
Do you know how long it was?
I would say about 6 weeks, 7. I think we left March and we were liberated in May 6. We saw Germans executed on trees. They were hanged, German soldiers. And they say that because they fled the unit, they were executed. So you can imagine they were so, to the last minute, they were.
Did you go through any towns where people could see you?
Yeah, we went 100 towns every day. They saw us. We saw the people. Life went on in the cities. Everything went on normal in those cities. Little towns, big towns, we passed all over. Nobody gave us anything to eat. Nobody helped us. Nobody talked to us. We were like nobody. I forgot to mention that in the ghetto, one day, they caught about 3, 4 guys gone in the city, and they broke in the Jewish houses and Daesh, and they stole some food from, but they brought in the ghetto, and they get caught. So then, 4 of them, they were hanged they put their hands on the back and they hanged on a tree till they passed out in front of us. And everybody had to watch this. That's and the ghetto happened. Then the end of the march was really something unbelievable. We were sleeping in a building close to wilderness outside the town. We were about 100 left from 100. And it was, I think, 12 o'clock at night. The soldiers came to our house. Aufstehen, get up. Dress up. You know what happened. We heard noises, airplanes. The main street from us was maybe a kilometer far. We heard noises. We figured something is going on, and we thought they're going to kill us. It's going to be the end of us. And they told us, Einhaken, that means hold on to each other. Don't look on your back. Just keep going. And they counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they directed us in the wilderness. You know. And we walked, and suddenly we hear the last man in the back says, "Children, we are free. The guards left us. It's all over. We are free. Nobody is guarding us. We can do whatever we want. It's all over." So one of us, okay, he said, "Okay, let's go to sleep now, and in the morning we'll start to." Because we didn't sleep anything. It was 1 o'clock at night. So, okay, we listened to the guy. He said, "Okay, let's go to sleep." So we lay down, went to sleep. We wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, and we saw a little house right at the end of the wilderness. And we talked to those people, and they told us the Americans occupied the whole territory here. It was yesterday. And this town, he said, this town is called Manatin. You are in the Sudeten. But that town over there is is Czechoslovakia. It's called Nechetin. So we thanked them and we gave us water to drink. We were so many. They don't have, they didn't have too much food. So we were up on the hill on that, and down the. It was, we could see hundreds of cars, tanks, soldiers. We didn't know if they are German soldiers. We didn't know Germans, what kind of soldiers are, Russian. But we knew that the Americans occupied them. We figured that it must be Americans if they are the one that occupied the territory. So we went down and it really was Americans went on Nechetin. And we told them, we kept our arms up and we told them who we are and all that. And we went in the city, the people, they brought us bread, the Czech people. They were very nice to us. Bread and food and everything. That was our tragedy. We ate too much, too quick, too fast. Everybody get typhoid, stomach problem. And so...
How were you treated by the Americans?
Very nice, very kind. They were very good. They gave us food and they were very kind to us. We were very hungry. We ate too much, too fast, too quick. You couldn't absorb the food. Our body wasn't used to that, so much good thing. I get very sick. I mean, I wasn't, just my stomach didn't operate. I didn't.
Do you know how much you weighed then?
Wow. I could wait 65 pounds, 70. I must just to go constantly to anything I ate. I had to go to the restaurant constantly. Anything I ate,
Do you know why now, or even then, why they made you march for so many weeks?
They didn't think that they lost the war, those German guards. And they had the order. As long as you can keep them, as long as they pass away, and that's the only thing I can think about. More we die is. But one thing I can never forget, that they didn't kill us that night in the wilderness. Because they might be afraid. The main road was so quick. They want to save their own life. They thought, let's save our own life. Let's stay alive. They were good. They were with us all this time. They don't deserve to die. That's how I think they thought. They didn't evade us. They did everything we told them. And we can walk away, change clothes, and go home. And somebody will hear that we killed them, and the last minute we might get in trouble. That's what I think.
So was there anyone there, to care for you? Is there any agencies or anyone that could be responsible now for you?
Well, I really, the next couple of days, after 2-3 days, we went to Pilsen. Pilsen. Yeah, that was, I think is the second largest city in Czechoslovakia. Oh, it's a big, nice city. Everything was so nice. And we went to a big place in a camp. There were all kind of people in that camp. And it wasn't, they told us where to go, where office, do that. It wasn't the best organization I could imagine. Maybe we were not that many of them. There were so many, all kind of people, all French. It was big. So many people. There were thousands and thousands of people. In Pilsen, I met 2 Jewish guys, American Jewish guys. They were, and I talked to them Yiddish. They told us there are 2 ways to handle my future: or go to Palestine, or go to United States. I asked him, how can I go to United States? Well, we can make contact and that. But, I still didn't learn enough from my past. I could come to United States then time. 45, I start a life here. I went home to Romania. Then, in the meantime, Romania took over the part of our country. Because the Romanian, they change clothes and they fight against the Germans with the Russians together. So the Russians give that territory back to the Romanians. So that part was Romania again. And I said, no, I better go to see who is home.
What did you find at home?
My sister and her husband. They both came home from the camp. So I came. I stopped in Prague on my way home. Then the Russian took over. The Russian took over the train, and they came and talked to them. They asked for papers, and it was, the Russian didn't behave very friendly. I meet a Russian Jewish guy in the train. Oh, shoot. He said, don't go back to Romania. You go in the wrong place right now, back to Romania. Take the train and go back to Pilsen, where the Americans are. Everywhere you go, there are Russians. Prague, Brno, Bratislava, everything is Russian, Russian, Russian. Don't go back. They are gunners, the Russian. That's what he said. Went back. Then my sister, she was like my mother, my brother, my father. It took me to the hospital because of the 1 week I was healthy. I could eat, I could drink. 1 week, they gave me the right treatment. They know how to. My life went on. I was young, still 17-year-old, back to school, back. Normal life started.
What about your brother? What did you
My
hear?
brother, for my brother, I heard he came home a month later. He went back to Reykjavik, then town, but he didn't stay too long there. He went to. He went back to Germany and then came in 1947, 48, and came to the United States. And I lived in Romania till 1959. I was young and I was studying home. It wasn't bad, you know. No.
Was your sister and her husband there with you?
Yeah, they were close to me all the time.
And who was left from your family?
Well, my uncle came home on my mother's side, and my aunt from my mother's side.
Which uncle and which aunt? What did they?
For my Frigyes and my aunt Ilonka, they came home, and
Cousins?
yeah, many cousins came home. Many, I would say about a dozen of cousins. They came home and very close to each other.
You say life went on, but how it was? It must have been very different than from before the war.
Well, you know, I went to school right away. I was busy studying and with friends, and started a normal life, you know. You couldn't cry, you know, whatever else for your parents, and but that's good, you know.
Was it did you feel still that you wanted to be Jewish? Did you go to services or?
Oh yeah, same, sure, same like before. Jewish life started again. Everything went on just a normal life. They were treating very well us, the Romanians. They were very friendly to us, everything.
And how did your family support themselves? What work did your?
Well, you could get any kind of work with us. It was, you could do anything. It was communism, but the beginning wasn't that bad. Then it started to be worse and worse and worse. And then I went to a kibbutz and at home in Romania, to emigrate to Israel. I could never realize because then they had to close the kibbutzim over there. Things started to be worse. But I never went back to Ritjak, to my hometown. I never went in Cluj. I lived all my years when I lived in Romania. From 1945, 45 to 1959, I was living in Cluj. It's a big city.
Did any Jewish families go back to your hometown?
Very few. Very few. Two of my cousins went back there. But they all emigrated to the United States. I don't have anybody in Romania. I don't have any relatives in Romania right now. They all emigrated and passed away.
So what did you do in all those years besides go to school?
Well, when I finished school, I went to work. I had a good job. And
What was the job?
well, some kind of accounting thing. I wasn't a real accountant, but similar. White collar job. It paid very well. Then I went to the service. I was 3 years in service.
When you began to really understand, what happened in Europe and that so many Jews were killed, 6 million, how were you able to live there and stay there?
That's true. It's true, but we should. It's a good question. We shouldn't stay a day there. It was a big mistake on my part that I didn't leave right from Pilsen. I would ask those American Jewish soldiers to make arrangement to come to the United States. Well, another thing is, it wasn't so easy to leave later on. Then after the situation settled, it was very difficult to leave the country. They didn't leave us. They didn't want to leave us.
How did you finally leave?
Well, we had to go to the legal process and we filled out forms many, many times. We waited many, many years till we left. Later on, we want to leave, but we couldn't. So the legal process went very slow. I filled out papers in Bucharest, in my hometown, Cluj. So finally I got the okay to leave.
And when was that?
1959. So I went to Austria. And I waited there 1 year till I emigrated to the United States.
Were you still with your sister and brother-in-law?
Yes. They left earlier than me. They left about 6 months earlier than me. Then they left about 6 months earlier than me from Vienna, Austria. My brother was here in Los Angeles, and they came straight here to Los Angeles, my sister and brother-in-law. Unfortunately, my brother-in-law passed away 2 weeks ago. He was 91 years old. He was very sick. He was really like a father, a brother to me. We were partners many, many years. So, yeah, we were very close.
So you also came to Los Angeles?
Then I came, to Los Angeles. New York, I was there for 2 days, and I was planning to stay in New York. I didn't know how life is in here. I thought maybe I stay on my own in New York. My brother said, no, don't do that mistake. In New York, you end up being a poor guy. New York is there are millions like you. You can't get ahead. Just came here. Oh, it was a different world here. It's not like New York. So I got to love that here in Los Angeles.
Did you feel, when you came here, did you feel ambitious to, start a new life and have?
Yes. And right away, I found work and everything, and my brother teach me everything, and Actually, I was in gasoline business all my life with my brother-in-law and my brother. That was my field. We had a lot of gas stations. But getting old, and it's a very tough, difficult business. So we leased out the stations, and we did shopping centers out of it. And so I shouldn't work so hard. So that's what I did here in Los Angeles.
So in all these years, have you gone back at all to Romania?
Never. When I went to Israel, I passed Greece, and I could, go to Romania, but I never did. No, I never.
Now, how did you meet your wife?
I went to Israel in '68, and I met her there, and I asked her to get married. And then she came over here.
So you didn't want to marry when you were younger?
No. I want to marry, but before I came, I didn't. But then when I came here, it was too late. It was very difficult to get married. I didn't speak the language. I didn't speak English when I came here. And I was so busy working, and working. So then I decided I'd go to Israel. Maybe I find somebody there.
And how did you meet her?
Well, I met her mother first, and her mother introduced me to her in a pension. I met her mother, and her mother told me about her, and she came over and met her, and I fell in love and asked her to get married.
And you have children?
Yes, 2 daughters. Karen, I have a daughter in San Francisco. She is in she is still studying. She's not so young. I am 31-year-old. She's psychiatry.
And you have grandchildren?
I got 2 grandchildren.
And how old are they?
6 and 2.5.
So, is there anything else that you remember that you would like to add to the tape? Any other memories, even if something that we've already just talked about? Or any stories or anything that comes to your mind?
I really don't remember any main events that I would consider to be important.
So then, I wanted to ask you some things. Like, were you able to talk to your daughters about your experiences when they were younger, growing up? Did you tell them?
No, I never told them anything.
Why?
I thought they are not interested, and I never explained them anything about my past.
Did you talk to other people? Could you talk to your wife or other people in your
No,
family?
no, not too much. I thought maybe they won't understand the way how I was liberated. Now that it's going to be on the tape, they're probably going to realize that night that when, I didn't know how it's going to end up. There were about 300 soldiers, and we were only 100. Well, they left us alive. It took them probably 10 minutes, and they could all be dead.
Do you feel you live your life differently because of what happened to you? Do you feel different than other people who didn't have that experience?
I think so. What I think is that
How long you gotta get here? 2:30.
I'll ask you again. I'll ask the question again. Do you feel you feel different than other people, and you feel you live your life differently than other people because of the experience that you had?
yes, I think that I was very lucky. I think I'm very lucky that I survived, and I feel it was a present for me that I can live and enjoy my family and my life. And hopefully I'll be healthy as long as I live.
Do you feel bitter about what happened to your parents and your family and the Jewish people?
I don't feel any better. No, I feel that we have to go on and be happy that we have a country, Israel, and we just have to do all the right things and sensible things, and it won't help anything being better or being angry. You gotta look for the future.
And now, why now did you feel you wanted to make a tape and to tell your story at this time in your life?
Well, to be honest with you, my daughter is the one who is Karen. She's the one who want to do what happened to me and all my past, so she could show to her children.
So if your children were watching this now, let's say they're your grandchildren and they're grown up, what message would you like to give them? What would you like to tell them?
Well, hopefully they'll remember, I went through, and be strong. Do all the right things and create families. Now looking forward for the future.
Do you think that the Holocaust could happen again? A kind of Holocaust like that you experienced, could it happen again?
It could happen again. We could see what happened in Bosnia. And some other places in the world. Some people never learn. We could see what's going on in Iraq on a daily basis. Between the sects, between the Shiites, between the Sunnis, Christians, Sufis, on a daily basis. So many people get killed.
So what is the lesson that we should have learned from the Holocaust?
The lesson is that when bad things happen, you shouldn't be quiet. Bring it up to open on the open. And fight against it. Be courageous. Don't wait to the last minute till it's too late. That the only way you're going to prevent any catastrophes.
So, is there anything else you would like to add before we end the tape?
Mm. No, I don't. Can't get that out.
Then thank you.
Very welcome.
Ah, please show.
They are my parents, Teresa, and my father's name is Herman. They were married in 1919 in city of Cluj. This picture is my mother, Teresa, and my sister, Elsa, in 1941 in the city of Cluj. This picture was taken in 1931. I was 3 years old. I'm sitting in the front row, the youngest one. The rest of the people are all Jewish people, and 90% they all perished in the Holocaust.
And who was the store in the picture?
And the store is my father's and my uncle's store. And Retiak.
And how do you have this picture and the other pictures of your family and the town?
It was found by a local party and Retiak. That picture was taken in 1952 when I was in the Romanian army. This picture was taken in 1958. He's a friend of mine, Gabriel Legman. He lives in Los Angeles.
And which one are you in the photograph?
And I am on the right side
And where was it taken?
in the city of Cluj. This is our wedding anniversary. My wife's name is Leah. I met her in Israel and I fell in love with her. And I brought her to the United States.
And what was the date of the wedding?
The date of the wedding was in 1968, December 15,
And where?
and the country club in the city of Los Angeles. This picture was taken in the country club in 1968 at our wedding. On the left side is my brother, Andrew, his son, Stevie, his wife, Irene, my mother-in-law, Magda, my wife, Leah, and on the other side is my sister, Elsa, her husband, Ernie, and their daughter, Terry. This picture was taken 2 years ago in 2003. On the left side is my younger daughter, Sherry. Then my wife, Leah. my daughter, Karen, my son-in-law, Brad Schreiber, and my grandson, Adam Schreiber, and Jason Schreiber. They are my grandchildren. Adam Schreiber, 6-year-old, and my little one, Jason Schreiber, 2.5. I love them very much. This is Scott Schreiber. I'm very sorry to tell you that after 4 months of sickness, he passed away. We'll remember him alive. We love them very much.